Hi everybody, it's Carla from Casey Creates, and I'm in the house again. So it's 111 right now at 4:10 in the afternoon. So I'm going to do a little baking. I'm going to start by making slicing and peeling some apples. I'm going to make apple tarts, and thought I'd chat with you while I peel some apples. So some of you know we relocated here from North Carolina, and everyone was saying it's a dry heat, you'll like it. Well, it is actually a dry heat here in Arizona, but still way too hot to actually go outside. So now I'm realizing this could be a problem. So when it's really cold outside, you usually stay home and bake. But now it's really hot outside, and I'm staying in and baking. So hopefully someone will come help eat all these goodies. I won't bore you by peeling all of these on camera. I'll stop now and come back to do the next step. Chat with you in a minute. So I rinsed my apples really well, and I squeezed the juice of 1 lemon over all of them. And these are fairly small apples, but I'm going to shred them on my box shredder. Because for the type of tarts I'm making, they're going to be small little individual tarts. So I don't want to have big chunks of apple. So if you can see, I'm going to shred these. And then I'll add my sugar and spices. In a separate bowl. So this is kind of an, oh, I lost an apple there. This is kind of an old-fashioned way of getting the job done, but like I said, I kind of have a bunch of time on my hands, so I'm going to enjoy the process. So I have just finished shredding up all my apples. I squeezed another lemon on top because they're starting to oxidize a little bit, but that's okay. So like I said, I shredded them on my box shredder. And now to the apples, I'm going to add a cup of sugar. Not quite a cup, it's probably more like 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And a pinch of salt. And we like cinnamon, so I'm going to add a whole teaspoon of cinnamon. And I forgot to get out the cornstarch. I'm going to add so you can tell I'm guesstimating here, but I don't want them to be too juicy when they bake because I don't want it to bubble all over. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Mix that in. You can see. And I'm going to add just a little bit of butter, probably maybe, oh, let's measure it to be sure. On my box grater, I actually just took really cold butter and shredded it for the crust. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this butter, maybe not quite 2 tablespoons, and mix that in. I suppose you could melt the butter too. Okay, and then I'm going to set this aside. cover it up and make the crust. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar, which was already in my cup, so, and then 2 cups of flour. It's pretty level. 1, 2 cups of flour. We're going to add all of the shredded butter, and this is actually lard. A lot of people will frown on that, but I actually had some on hand. And it's supposed to make a crust very flaky, so I'm giving it a try. And because it's shredded, I don't have to worry about using the pastry blender or fork. I'm just going to get in here with my hands because that's how a clay artist loves to work with her hands, especially when it comes to dough. So I have got it pretty much mixed up. They always say kind of pea-sized shapes, and I would definitely call that little bits that look like pea-size shapes are now mixed into my flour mixture. Let me go. And I'm just going to pour some ice cold water in there and measure out 1, 2, let's just do 4 at first. I don't want to put too much water. And you can do store-bought crust, but I just love making homemade crust. Sometimes I watch videos just because it's fun to watch. My crusts sometimes turn out great, sometimes not so great. Let's hope today's one of those great days. Okay, so I've got 6 tablespoons of water mixed in, and it's starting to come together in a ball, so that's a good thing. They do say you don't want to overwork your crust, so I'm going to try to gather all of this up into a ball. I think I need probably 1 more sprinkle of water. So you can sometimes need more, sometimes less. I think I definitely needed 7 tablespoons of cold water. And then I have a piece of wax paper here. You could use plastic wrap. I'm just going to use wax paper and turn it out onto my wax paper and squeeze it into a ball or maybe a disc. That looks about right. And so that I don't overwork it, the moisture will evenly distribute as I wrap it and give it a rest. So I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm going to give it a rest while I clean all of this up. So I'll be right back. So my dough's had a little time to rest, and so I'm going to roll it out here just on my clean countertop. I'm just going to put a little flour down and roll this out. Okay, so I have this cutter I'm going to use. It's a flour cutter, and you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so I have my baking sheet here. My baking sheet has been through the mill. I broke my baking stone, which I would prefer using. So I've lined mine with parchment paper, and I have each little tart or pie thing on here. You can just use a round cutter if you would rather. And if you don't have a round cutter big enough, I just had this great idea, and I bet it would work. If you have just like a round bowl, you could probably press that down and cut out And then I'm going to take a generous serving spoon size and plop it in the middle. That might be too generous. Do a little less than that. And then I'm going to just fold my little flower petals of this cutter into the center. Okay, so if you can see, I've got the filling right in the middle, and all I'm going to do is kind of pinch them and fold them over. Okay, so I'm pinching the little petals, getting them nice and snug so that hopefully these will not ooze out. And I have 6 here, and I think I have enough dough actually to do 6 more. So there they are. Let me get my camera and tip it up for you. These are the raw ones that are about to go in a 375 oven. I'm going to check them after 20 minutes and see how it goes, and I will show you when they're finished. So I'm back with finished rustic apple tarts. Oops, I suppose I should move the camera to you. Here they are. They turned out pretty well. I'm gonna put them on a plate. I wish I had a big scoop of vanilla ice cream to put them on. What's this? So, let's see. 1, I think 2 would make a nice serving. Then I'm just gonna put a little pretty dusting of powdered sugar on top. And there you have it. Hey, these are my rustic apple tarts. It was fun baking with you, and I'll see you in another video. Have a good night.